So we got a case of the Mondays. Sorry, Steve. You're going to have to record that eloquent, awesome response once again. So here we go, real quick. GPT-5 launched last week. There have been some mixed reviews, some very, very enthusiastic folks, and then there's folks in the middle, and then there's some other folks. And everybody's got a different opinion for a variety of different reasons, but would love to hear your thoughts, Steve, as I know that you and I were talking off camera about this carousel I published with, some thoughts from 9 different AI leaders across the spectrum. So without further delay, and hopefully this thing doesn't shut down again, go for it. What are your thoughts?
Overall, I think it's super exciting. This ever-changing AI world, everybody's trying to outdo each other in terms of all the big heavy hitters, OpenAI, Grok, and Google Gemini and others. So I think exciting release overall, and I think more exciting things to come from all the competition that's out there. Some of the things that have kind of jumped out at me being in the engineering space is, Greg Brockman kind of talked about how GPT-5 is an amazing tool for engineers, right? And we use Claude code all the time, but I think this is getting right up there. And the fact that there's kind of built-in AI agents, right, for various different coding tasks. So as the geek that I am, very intriguing things there. And then there's certainly some other interesting feedback from the market. Curious your thoughts, Alec, around thank you for sending out that carousel, amazing stuff. Curious your thoughts on from the various different perspectives of those individuals and kind of where you think it's going.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So there's a number of different territories that I was thinking about going into, but I picked those 9 AI leaders, including some pretty obvious folks as well as folks with different points of view, to represent the spectrum. One thing I've heard since, and I wish I would have included it, so I'll just build on it a little bit here, is that I think the number is somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 10%, maybe even less than 10% of OpenAI and ChatGPT's massive, I think it's 700 million, daily active users, are what's referred to as power users. And so power users obviously are deeply technical, folks like yourself and otherwise. And I think that the thing that people are talking about a lot now is this notion of you can describe a number of different ways, but moving everyone, including power users and everybody else, right, the other 90% and whatnot, into experiencing, reasoning and experiencing this, thinking dimension of GPT-5 that perhaps folks, hadn't experienced before. And I think that's very significant because now you very well might have 600 and I don't know, we'll do the math and, shorthand, 900, 690 million different people who have probably not yet had that super magical moment with AI and they're about to, if not, they already have. And I think that's combined with vibe coding and our man Karpathy, who of course I included his reference in there, which is a little bit of a step outside of reacting to GPT-5, but just talking about, how much is enough versus too much and yada, yada. I think that's the part for me that's really interesting. I think that we're about to enable an enormous population to experience the magic and the really big aha with, whoa, AI is unbelievable. And also maybe, I hope, optimistically, glass half full guy, I think the more people experience it directly with their own hands and their own workflow, the more often they might be able to better understand how great it is, frankly, and how much impact it will have on society and business in general, and perhaps be able to distinguish, signal versus noise and come up with some more of their own independent thinking around, where things are and could head and probabilities. Because once you experience it yourself, I think you get a different perspective. So I think that's number one. And then number two is Balaji's statement where he's like, hey, maybe LLMs are, topping out for the time being, but the AI deployment, look at the up and to the right of Waymo. So I think that's the promise. And again, glass half full guy is I think it's so special that we get to experience these moments and we're living through it, day by day. And I think something's coming in the next 7-14 days, wink, wink, which might have caused the presentation to have been a little bit rushed, which is probably why there were a couple of typos here and there. No big deal, but it's all part of the game and the race.
Yeah, you figured they would catch those, but
You would.
very exciting. I mean, if each major AI company is rushing each other, then that just means it's a race to the finish, and we'll see who kind of comes out ahead. But my bet is that it's just going to continue to the major players, right, are going to continue to grow. We'll see some consolidation at some point, but it'll be definitely exciting times to live in and to follow this space for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, thanks, Stephen. The one other thing I would throw out there for folks, if anybody wants to really get a little bit deeper into the implications, there's a fantastic interview on Lenny's podcast. Shout out Lenny Rachitsky, where he interviewed Brett Taylor, who's an incredibly talented builder and serial entrepreneur. But some of the ways he unpacked and described his perspective, being the board chair of OpenAI, on the frontier dimension versus applied AI and what he's building with Sierra and the implications, to your point, on where all of this is headed, I think is absolutely fascinating. So I would suggest folks check out that podcast as well.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, Steve, be good.
Thanks, Al.
See ya.